Hello fellow coders, hope you all are doing great. Today I'm going to be talking about Python escape sequences. In Python strings, you could use these escape characters to modify the whole string into something else. Actually, in this video we're going to talk about 3 different characters, but in real life we have more than that. So we're not going to include all of them in my video, but I will be talking about the most used ones. Okay, the first one is basically the \n. For example, this is an example. I'm going to run it and show you that it is actually displaying the whole sentence as it is in the term. Now, as you could see, the whole sentence is being displayed directly, but what if I want to modify it, or place this part of the sentence in different line? For example, if we have a long paragraph, for example, this is an example sentence, this is another example sentence. So let me just run it again. Now, as you can see, this whole thing is being printed in the same line. And what if you want to print it in another line? You could just use a print function in 2 different lines, but that is not really code friendly, or you could say it's not really efficient. So you could use \n in between of the lines. And now this character, the \n, is basically going to divide this whole string into 2 different strings, or it is going to add a line break between them. Okay, let me just show you that how it is working. Now, as you can see, the whole line is basically divided into 2 different parts and it is printed. And there is another character you could use to modify the string, that is the \t. And this escape character is used to add space between 2 strings, or you could say space between different characters. I'm just going to run it to show you that how it works. Now, as you can see, there is a huge space that is implicitly added after I hard-coded the \t here. This is basically what happens if you use \t in your string. It's just going to add an empty space. Let's talk about the major use of escape sequences. For example, if you are having a string, let's say example is example. Okay, you know what? I'm just adding some random lines. Please don't judge me according to them or anything. Basically, I've just randomly generated this, and I would like to include a double quote in between it, like this. Now, as you could see, the color is basically changed. If you had done the same thing in the Python's default, ideally this would have not been the case. It would have showed you an error, and that's it, and then you have to find out yourself. Now, as you can see, it is basically not a string. It's not included in the double quotes that I have added. And in the previous video, I have explained to you why this thing happens. You could just basically use single quotes in place of double quotes, but it's not really efficient to replace all of them when you are working on big projects. So instead of using single quotes again and again and again, you could just add a \/ behind these double quotes. Now they are going to be treated as normal characters. Let me show you. Now, as you could see, the \t is still working. It is just adding a tab space in between of those sentences, and in the second sentence we are having the double quotes, even though we used double quotes at the end. So that is the use of \/ or escape character in Python 3. Also, if you want to use single quotes while using single quotes at the end of the strings, for example, example sentence, etc., anything that can be considered, I think that is enough. And you want to use single quotes in between of that, and you don't want to change the single quotes at the end, so you could just use the \/ here again. There you go. As you could see, the single quotes are being printed, and I'm just going to remove those backslashes and after that I would try to run it. Now you would get this big error. Now as you could see, it says syntax error, invalid syntax. So you could just use backslash at the back of this whole thing to print it. Likewise, you can just use this to print backslash as well. For example, you really want to print 4 backslashes, and when you're going to run it, you're going to get an error. Not an error, but you're not going to get your desired result. And as you could see, only 2 of them are being printed. So basically, one of them in each pair is being ignored by the Python language. That's it. It's not being ignored, actually, it's being escaped. So basically, you could, if you want to print a single backslash, you could use double backslash for that. And if you want to print like 4 of them, you could use 8 backslashes. For example, let me just show you. 5, 6, 7, 8. There you go. Let me just run it again. Now as you could see, we are having 4 different backslashes. So that's how you could use escape sequences. I'm actually skipping a few characters as they're not actually useful in real world scenarios. If you really want to know anything about them, you could just comment down below and I will resolve your query down there. That's it for now, guys. Hope you found this video helpful. Please leave a like below and share this video with your friends, and I'll see you very soon. Later.